Ladies and gentlemen, can everyone hear me? Please feel free to drop a quick thumbs up in the messages if everyone can hear. Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much for joining. And as I said, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests from around the world, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone that joined us today. It is with great pleasure and sincere honor that I welcome each and every one of you to the Global Sustainability Partnerships Define Your Legacy Summit 2023. So my name is Luis Majois, and I'm the president of the Global Sustainability Partnerships. So let me start the summit by saying that our summit is part of the various initiatives created by the truly impactful organization I'm honored to be a part of, called WOCPSCN. Together, we have really embarked on a remarkable journey towards promoting gender equality, education, global sustainability, and community development. So through our Global Sustainability Partnership Program, we thrive to forge global alliances and maintain connections that empower one another's projects and sustainable businesses for measurable impact and action in our communities and beyond. This event is really a testament to our shared commitment to creating a more equitable and sustainable world. So today, as we gather virtually on this Zoom platform, I'm truly inspired by the diversity and the passion that I can see radiates from this virtual room. So I already look forward to learning more about each and every one of you, the change makers, the organizations, and businesses that share a common goal of making a difference for a more sustainable future. So as I often say, doing nothing is not an option. And together, we have the power to drive meaningful change. So whilst we recognize the gravity of the challenges that we face, it's equally important to find moments of levity and connection. So let me just say this, people often say laughter is the best medicine. And in our pursuit of a better and more sustainable future, I believe we must remember to find joy in our shared journey. So together, we can be movement, bringing about positive change within our communities and beyond. So now more than ever, the time for action is upon us. Our planet and its inhabitants needs us. And by collaborating, by working together, by creating a lasting legacy, that's the way that we can create an environment that future generations can be proud of. So before we proceed with our summit, I want to take a moment to acknowledge and welcome our esteemed moderator, Tina Greenbaum. It's an absolute honor to have her join us once again. Tina is a seasoned executive coach who has been helping executives for over 37 years now. Her expertise has been sought after in Washington, New York, San Francisco, where she's helped leaders improve their leadership skills. So she took her success in training C-level professionals, Olympic-level athletes, actors, performers, and apply that knowledge for clients in business and government. Today, Tina serves as a trusted advisor to leaders who have the potential to impact the world in a positive way. Additionally, it goes without saying that Tina's Mastery Under Pressure program and her Under the Hood Live podcast series on LinkedIn provide extremely invaluable guidance and insights for all professionals and impactful change makers alike. So we're truly grateful to have Tina's expertise and guidance as our moderators for this summit. Once again,
thank you, Louis.
once again, I really, really extend my warmest welcome to you all. Thank you for being here, for sharing your insights, and for joining us on this remarkable journey. Let us embrace the power of unity, inspire one another, and together, let's define our legacy for a better and more sustainable world. So thanks once again, and let the Global Sustainability Partnership Summit begin.
Okay, well, with that, welcome everybody. And I have a crazy request. Feel free to put your cameras on. Somehow or other, when we have our cameras on, we are more connected. And that's what this summit is all about. You get to see each other's faces. The speakers get to see the reaction that people have when they speak. So absolutely not necessary, but feel free. Look at you, beautiful faces, and from all over the world. So this is really, really exciting. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so our first speaker is Bertha. I have Bertha. What's Bertha's last name? Bertha, oh, Chiudza. Bertha, help me out.
Don't worry, Bertha is just fine.
Okay, yeah. So Bertha specializes in gender and sustainability. She has worked in Malawi, which is where she's a native, Denmark, and South Korea, which is where she is presently today. She holds an MA in Education, Gender, and International Development from the Institute of Education, the UCL in London. She's a centenary scholar, and a 2022-23 DIHAD scholarship recipient for a master program in sustainable humanitarian action. Wow. An award winner of the 2019 and 2020 Pan-Africa's Most Influential Women in Business and Government by the CEO Global and Titans Building Nations. So welcome, Bertha. We're so happy to have you, and the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Tina. I'm so honored to be here with all of you. And yeah, good evening from Korea. It's 20 minutes before 12 midnight right now. So I'm super excited. I think it's common for me to also be having calls at this time. So Saturday will be coming soon. So I'm so glad that you've also put me as the first speaker. But let me first of all also thank as well the organizers. But before I even maybe go further into maybe introducing myself, because Tina has already introduced me, I want to go straight into the topic that I want to briefly talk about. And this is a topic that I'm also very much passionate about. This is what I do. This is what my passion is all about. And even with the work that I currently do, is also what I believe that I've been called to do. So I'll be talking about why gender equality and social inclusion is vital in sustainable development. It may sound mouthful, but I hope maybe with the few minutes that I've been given, then we will be able to cover some ground. So first of all, I wanted to ask if you've ever heard some of these words or phrases or justifications. I'm not expecting an answer, but I just wanted the audience just to reflect through. One of the statements that I normally also hear about, or even other people in the space, we normally hear about, this has nothing to do with gender. I hope you've heard that statement before. Or another statement is, there aren't enough qualified and diverse speakers out there for this development conference. So we just had to deal with what we had. Another example, we need big names, we need big speakers, and a few of those are women, a few of those are youth or are indigenous peoples, or people from low and middle income countries or small island developing states. So what we are looking for are big names and big speakers. And a few of those are women or youth or indigenous peoples. Another statement that we normally hear about, the marginalized or underrepresented groups or communities' involvement. No, we know exactly what they need from this project or program. So we have to decide for them for this project intervention. So it could be maybe two people speaking to each other. Are you talking about marginalized or underrepresented groups or communities? Involvement? No. We actually know exactly what they need from this project. So we have actually decided for them. And maybe the last example that I can give, who? I've never heard about him or her or them before. We are only responding to the demand. We just have to deal with what we have. So my question is, are these justifications common or valid? So I'm not expecting an answer, as I said earlier on, but perhaps even if I stop there with my brief session, that will still send a message. But still more, let's quickly talk about maybe a few issues about sustainable development. And I know that other fellow speakers will also dive in more detail, but we know that we cannot neglect the issues of how gender equality, how poverty eradication, social inclusion intersects with sustainable development. So there are a lot of statistics, there are a lot of studies that show various gender and social disparities and how that also impacts on the development, whether it's economic, whether it's social, even environmental. So I may not have the luxury of time to highlight all those, but when you have some time, may you kindly read through the World Economic Forum Global Gender Gap Report. I think it came out yesterday, if not a day before yesterday, the 2023 one. I'll share the link as well. And also the UNDP Gender and Social Norms Index, just to get a picture in terms of this current situation, global outlook in terms of issues of the gender pay gap, issues of the labor market, the disproportionate impacts of climate change, issues of gender and diversity biases, issues of underrepresentation or participation of different gender groups, issues of gender-based violence, quite a lot of issues, income access, the care work, gaps in poverty. So all these reports, all these statistics have actually given us in terms of how, like, the current situation or the social and the economic outlook. So I'm going to talk now more maybe on some of the reasons why gender equality, women empowerment, and social inclusion is important, as well as critical to the elimination of poverty and overall sustainable development. So number one, we know that gender equality, women empowerment, social inclusion is actually important, because the moment we educate women and girls, we are also saving lives. So educating women and girls, it saves lives. So each year that, each school year that a mother receives, it reduces the risk of infant mortality by 5 to 10%. So we actually know that when we are educating the women and the girls, we are also saving lives. And in fact, if all women had secondary education, then child deaths would actually be cut in half. So saving 3 million lives a year. And if we just look at sub-Saharan Africa, only 8% of girls finish secondary school education. And in Ireland, that figure is actually 93%. So imagine if we could, if that could be achieved, or that gap, if we close that gap, what more can be achieved? So the second reason is when more women work, economies also grow. So women, empowering women to work has actually benefits, not just for the individual, but also for the wider economy. And McKinsey also did they've also done a number of reports. So the McKinsey Global Institute report actually says that if women were to play an identical role in labor markets to that of men, as much as $28 trillion or 26% could actually be added to the global annual GDP by 2025. So you can actually see the importance of why women, when more women are actually working, then the economies are also growing, the GDP is also increasing. Another reason why it's important, we know that when women have a say in household finances, the whole family benefits. And there's also another report by Clinton Global Initiative that says women reinvest 90% of their income back into their families, while men reinvest 35%. So we might as well see that providing a boost for the economy and supporting women to earn more income also means that there are very good or better health and education outcomes for their children as well as even for themselves. And another reason why it's important, there are also studies that have actually shown that gender equality in healthcare leads to better health for all. That's also links to the second point that I raised earlier on. And another reason is that when governments focus on gender equality, there also legal protections also improve. So we've got a lot of cases on child marriages, on forced marriages. So the girls who actually marry young are less likely to receive a complete or full quality education. So we know that if we are educating the girls, then there are also all these legal improvements and also legal protections for women and girls. And another reason is when women are active in peace negotiations, conflict is also less likely to reoccur. So UN Women, they have also done a number of studies that have actually shown that many of the countries caught in protracted conflict today are also countries that afford very few rights and protections to women. So there are several links actually between gender equality, and conflict, and there are also some concluding reflections that says that women's participation is key to sustainable peace. And also other peace treaties that include women in the process in a meaningful way are actually 35% more likely to last for 15 years or more. So we can't break the cycle of poverty without breaking the cycle of gender inequality. And we also know that inclusive and gender responsive climate adaptation and mitigation is very vital in the fight against climate change. And the business case for gender transformative approaches has also been proven to enhance sustainability. So gender is actually very much instrumental to the progress on addressing climate change. So we know, and there are a lot of studies that have actually said that gender equality is intrinsically linked to sustainable development and is also vital to the realization of human rights for all. And let me repeat, gender equality is intrinsically linked to sustainable development and is vital to the realization of human rights for all. So I always say, we cannot continue with the gender and inclusion tokenism. I think for me, I always say, being in the space for over 15 years now, I always say I'm tired of hearing gender and inclusion tokenism. So we have to make sure that if we're talking about gender and social inclusion, it should not just be one of those good things that we say about us or about the organization, but we have to be deliberate and put our resources and our tangible investments in it. Because by the end of the day, even if we're just doing gender and inclusion tokenism, I think we are fooling ourselves. But also, I think another thing is we are also leaving a very negative legacy for our children and even for the generations to come. So I call on all of us to make deliberate efforts and also commitments that are actually required at all levels to make sure that gender and social inclusion is actually meaningful in all our work that we actually do, whether it's at individual level, even at corporate level, or at different levels, but it has to be deliberate and it has to be meaningful. So thank you so much, and let me end there. Thank you so much, Tina, and over to you.
Thank you so much. You know, one of the things that I love about this conference that I loved last time as well, it's practical. I mean, look at all the statistics and all the things that she gave to give us real numbers. It's not emotional. It's not highly, kind of women oriented. It's practical. So take in everything that you hear here, because the answers for a lot of the problems that we have in this world are right here in this room. So thank you again, Bertha. Okay, so our next guest is Geetha. Geetha Plackal is an early career marine scientist from Kerala, India. She is working as Director, Ocean Health and India Operations at the World Alliance for Planetary Health, USA, Environmental Director at Ocean Integrity, Climate Reality Leader at Climate Reality Corps, Ambassador at Remtech Europe, Island Innovation Ambassador, and Key Associate for Asia and Beyond. at and as Ecoscape USA. She's a member of so many wonderful organizations and really kind of moving towards being a working group member at the International Network on Soil Biodiversity and membership in more than 25 and national and international organizations related with environmental conservation. Could we say that this woman has her definite ways that she can share with us all these wonderful things? So thank you so much, Geetha, and welcome. And you're on mute. And one last thing, if you have any questions for our speakers, please put them in the chat. We're monitoring the chat.
Thank you so much for your invitation. And can I send a slide here, share screen?
Yes, you can. You can share your screen.
Okay, thank you. It's actually, it's a something like that between 15 minutes in your presentation, but I am only here presenting only a few slides that is important for us in our talk. Okay, so that I can finish it as soon as possible. Thank you. Can you share my slides here?
We can see your slides, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Plackal.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, let's start now. Yeah, thank you so much for everyone. I am Dr.Geetha Plackal from India, and let's start now about some. I wish to talk about the marine plastic pollution challenges. Okay, and just going to what is plastic, or everyone know about these all, and I didn't explain it at all this, and we know that the Pakistan. That is the first name of the plastics invented by Alexander Pax, and types of plastic: thermoplastics, thermosets or thermosetting polymers, and classified based on size also: nano, micro, meso, macro, and mega particles. Okay. And what is plastic pollution? The dumping or the accumulation of different types of plastics, such as all plastic bags, bottles, straws, everything in our environment, or in their habitats, or in a wildlife area or ecosystems, and human places, etc. Okay, and why plastic pollution is bad? Plastic pollution is a climate crisis, biodiversity crisis, food security crisis, human and wildlife health crisis, and it's one of the central environmental issue and one of the most complex issues among other pollutions. And it threat to air, soil, and water quality on Earth. And plastic pollution is a global threat. And it's reported from mountain peak to the deepest part of ocean by various studies by researchers. Now degradable and remaining as micro, nano, or picoparticles in environment. We cannot clean these from Earth completely. Plastics are toxic and silent killer of human and wildlife on land and water. What is marine plastic pollution, or MPP? Okay, marine litter or marine debris is any persistent, manufactured, or processed solid material discarded, disposed, or abandoned in the marine and coastal environment. And marine plastic pollution, that is marine debris containing different types of plastics, pollution of these debris from coastal zone to marine environment, posing a severe threat to fishery resources, marine habitat, and biodiversity, as well as human and other wildlife, its health and safety. That MPP can be further categorized into macroplastics larger than 5 mm and microplastics smaller than or equal to 5 mm. Okay. And major sources of this marine plastic litter: 2 primary sources. One is land-based activities and other is maritime activities. 80% of marine debris coming from land, from open-based dumping via rivers and canals, and land-based trash and urban runoff leaks to the estuaries, coastal zone, and ocean due to heavy rain and flood, stormwater surge. and litter, trash, and debris from construction, ports and marinas, commercial and industrial facilities, overboard discharges from ships and discarded fishing nets, and other materials are 20% ocean-based source of litter. This is the impact pathway of marine plastic pollution, and mainly the pre-production and manufacturing of plastic pellets. In this time, the production, consumption, and disposal, these three steps, in these three steps, we are losing some particles into the environment by different activities. That is some things like that: consumption land-based sources, or consumption marine-based sources, or something like that, lost resin pellets, legal disposal and illegal disposal, different types of two types. That is illegal disposal, that is waste beneficiaries and landfills or wastewater sewage flow, and that is plastic particles are coming into the marine environment, and the illegal disposal, illegal dumping or littering in the marine environment. Okay. And the global marine pollution issues. Since 1950s, the plastic production and the use has increased, and it MPP first noted in 1970. And UNEP estimated that between 3 and 5.3 million tons of micro and macroplastics are lost annually to the environment, mainly from abrasion of tires and city dust, which include abrasion of plastics from example shoe sales, salts, exterior paints, and road markings. Global production of plastics increased from 1.5 million tons in 1950 to 322 million tons in 2015. Okay, plastic loss to the oceans across the plastic value chain stages are these, or I didn't read all these steps also. Okay, some shocking statistics. Let us take this. Approximately 250 million ton per year plastic production globally. It produces persistent organic pollutants. It promotes algal growth or red tide in a marine environment. And approximately 12.7 million tons of plastics a year reached in ocean, and approximately 8 million pieces of plastics make their way into our oceans in a day. And 88% of the sea surfaces is polluted by these plastic waste. More than 1 million plastic bags end up in the trash every minute. And approximately 165 million tons of plastic currently circulates in Earth's marine environments. And approximately 1 lakh marine mammals and over 1 million seabirds are killed by ocean plastics every year. By 2025, 1 ton of plastics for every 3 tons of fish in ocean. And that produced around 320 million tons of plastic to date, and this may double by 2034. Between 4.8 and 12.7 million metric tons of plastic waste entered the ocean in 2010 only. And some most affected regions in the world: South Asia and South Asia and the Pacific region are largely affected by MPP due to the higher plastic production. That increasing the use of one-time plastics and the poor management. That is, Asia Pacific alone produces 49.3% of the global plastic volume and consumes 38% of all plastics. Abandoned, lost, and discarded fishing gear and maritime-based impacts to ecosystems and marine species remains underexplored. 46% of the marine litter larger than 5 centimeters are comprised of ALDFG. The famous Great Pacific Garbage Patch in the eastern part of the North Pacific subtropical gyre that contains at least 79,000 tons of plastic floating in the space of 1.6 million kilometers. This area is the source of plastic pollution to the Asia via the corrosion extension current system and fishing activities. That plastics that larger than 5 centimeters consists of 75% of the mass of that GP. And some statistics of this Great Pacific Garbage Patch: 46% of the total mass is made of discarded fishing gear, and 1.6 million kilometers square wide, and 1.8 trillion pieces of plastic, and 80,000 tons of garbage. 99% of everything is plastic in this garbage patch. Okay. And global plastic production. Massive plastic production is marked by a sharp increase globally, leading to 359 million tons of global plastic production in 2017. Okay, and that is, and mainly it is these activities are occurred in 2020 a year, or sometimes like that. Plastic waste by 2060. This is a prediction. According to recent estimates from the OECD, plastic waste in on course to triple by 2060. Consumer products, construction and transport make some of the largest contributions to plastic waste. Half is still safe to go landfill by that point. That plastic waste is projected to triple by 2060. Okay, and then 353 million tons of waste in 2019 to 1,014 million tons in the next 4 decades. Then we are checking some plastic facts. There are more than 5.25 trillion macro and micro pieces of plastic in the oceans, and that equates to 46,000 pieces per every square mile of ocean. Okay, and 75 to 199 million tons of plastic waste currently in our ocean, and with a further 33 billion pounds of plastic entering the marine environment every single year. First, top one the plastic pollution based or the plastic waste generated countries list. China is the first country, and followed by United States and Germany, Brazil and Japan, following by these countries. Okay, and the impacts of marine plastic pollution. Accidental ingestion and entangling of plastics, killing wildlife and marine organisms in a large scale. And floating plastics debris carries toxic chemicals and pollutants and harmful to organisms and coral reefs. Ghost fishing nets are dangerous to marine organisms in a large scale. This may cause wound and sometimes leads to death of organisms due to entangling. Okay, this is the toxins in plastic consequences. More than thousands chemicals were identified in plastics, but 80% are unknown. Thousands of additives used in plastic production. All these are affected our health and other wildlife also. Okay, and this burning of plastics also produce greenhouse gas emissions and breathe up and eat approximately 50,000 microparticles in a year by a human. And recently some studies found that microplastics in a human placenta also. Okay, diagrammatic representation of different types of plastics and their effect on marine organisms. These are mainly megaplastics, macroplastics, mesoplastics, microplastics, and nanoplastics. All these are affected different groups of organisms. Whales to the largest whales to the smallest plankton. Okay. An overall representation of sources and deleterious effects of microplastics on marine biota and control measures for these problems are here. Domestic and the sources are mainly domestic cosmetics, washing of clothes, using a toothpaste, household waters, weights, and industrial construction, recycling, coastal fishing activities, including plastic gears, nets, shipping, litter. And mainly the biodiversity is affected by the corals, phytoplankton, zooplankton, benthic organisms, fish, seabirds, large marine animals. Okay. And greenhouse gas emission and plastic production rate, plastic packing waste, incineration, and growth of plastic packaging waste. These are the different contributions from this area. And mainly it is 39.9% is plastic packaging waste and 60.1% is non-plastic packaging waste. Okay, others 32%, sanitary landfills 40%, and 14% incineration and 1.4% recycling. And laws and regulations to tackle plastic pollution. Okay, and we have some laws. The United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea says framework, protection, and preservation of the marine environment. SDG 14.1, governments are required by 2025 prevent and significantly reduce marine pollution of all kinds, in particular from land-based activities, including marine debris and nutrient pollution. Basel Convention on the control of transboundary movements of hazardous wastes and their disposal, and Asian Framework of Action on Marine Debris, South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, a South Asia Cooperative Environmental Program. Various other national, regional, and international laws and regulations are implemented globally to act against land and marine plastic pollution issues. And the UN Plastic Treaty in 2022, that is the United Nations Plastic Treaty, that is the United Nations member states agreed to start negotiating a new global treaty to end plastic pollution. And in June 2023, the United Nations Intergovernmental Negotiation Committee approved and agreed to create this summit by November, and the first draft of an international plan to end plastic pollution by 2040. Okay, 56 countries are already agreed to this agenda. and major challenges. As plastic does not break down naturally, it is polluting natural systems, including rivers and oceans. The production, use, and disposal of plastics also create significant greenhouse gases emissions throughout the different stages of plastic value chain activities. And the plastic waste and the threat it poses to the environment and public health is perhaps the second biggest global threat after climate change. The lack of effective recycling strategies and effective waste management infrastructure, especially in the developing world, has created a plastic waste crisis. Lack of infrastructure, improper and unplanned dumping, inadequate legislation, and mismanagement are the key factors for this plastic pollution and the segregation and reaggregation and of plastic waste streams such as packaging waste, including laminated plastic. And growing population, rapid urbanization, shifting consumption pattern, and changing lifestyles have resulted in the mismanagement of plastic waste, leading to accumulation of municipal solid waste in several places or countries. There are solutions. And we can do something for mitigate against this pollution. Stop one-time use of plastics, reduce plastic production, reuse or recycling, stop unwanted purchase of plastic materials, stop use of microbeads containing cosmetics and the beauty using something like that products, proper way of waste disposal, use biodegradable plastics, use cloth bags instead of plastic bag, uses glass or steel bottles instead of plastic bottles, support innovative technology and research for cleaning the ocean plastics, strict laws and regulations and policies, and awareness and education. 9 ways you can reduce. One is boycott single-use. Join the reusable evolution, shop local and request plastic-free packaging and minimizing bathroom and cleaning products, purchase second-hand instead of buying new, buy fewer high-quality items made to last, and choose product made from recycled materials and consider sharing or hiring instead of owning. Led by example to inspire others to call for action. We need to stop the wave of plastics on our environment and ocean, and I'm doing awareness activities via social media and other platforms. All are welcome to these activities. And RAO, that is was a brainchild of a 4th-generation fisherman from Ireland, Kiran Gilly. The RAO's primary mission is to end the dumping of plastic waste in our oceans and work to greatly reduce the plastic waste that is already collected there. How does RAO collect ocean plastic waste? Prevention and river protection, recycling, education and waste management, and community development. RAO is committed to recycle all types of plastic using creative and innovative methods. I'm working as an environmental director at RAO. I am inviting people who are interested for collaboration to this project for protection of marine ecosystem, for well-being of humanity and planet Earth. These are the details of RAO, and without blue, there is no green on Earth. It's time for educate ourselves and share knowledge to others. It's time to inspire and motivate others to take action for save Earth. It's time to take action to stop plastic pollution and environmental destruction. It is time to save nature and natural resources for a sustainable future for all, and save biodiversity for a healthy future. Save ocean for a healthy life on Earth. Thank you so much. And I'm using these references for these works, and thank you. Thank you.
All I can say is wow. From the macro to the micro, you know, because as I was sitting and listening to all the scary facts and statistics that you have, you bring it down to just all of us right here. What can we do? And so if you didn't get a snapshot of the last couple of slides of what we can do individually, please, you know, reach out and ask for that, because I think about that all the time. You know, what can I do just as that individual? So I love that. And thank you again for all your knowledge and your experience and your passion. You know, we had a little meeting before this event started. And if I heard passionate about what I do more than, you know, if I heard it once, I heard it from every single speaker that's on this on this platform. Everybody is passionate about what they're doing. So join in, find one of these causes that you really believe in, and let's make it a global thing. So thank you again. Next is Gabriela Jaeger. I hope I said that correctly. Gabriela is passionate about youth-led development. She's been involved in Global Changemakers since 2009, when she started the creation and implementation of a granting process to support changemakers' youth-led projects, which led to over 360 youth-led initiatives worldwide and the publication of By Youth for Youth in the Stanford Social Innovation Review. She's the co-founder of Global Changemakers since it became an independent organization in 2014. She has co-authored a number of educational online tools, and she holds an LLM in law from the University of Pan America, and has been active in the nonprofit community activism and international development sector for the last 17 years. And we welcome you, Gabriela. You take it away.
Thank you so very much. I just wanted to make sure that my screen is being shared. Hold on. It always happens.
That's okay.
So sorry about that.
What help do you need?
Well, I'm only seeing here as share content photos, which is not what I want to share.
Take your time.
I'm so sorry about that.
No. So one of the things that Lewis didn't say, but I am the creator and the founder of an organization called Mastery Under Pressure. And so when these things happen, we just take a nice deep breath.
So you still cannot see my screen, can you?
No,
do you have the ability to try it again?
Yeah, I'm just downloading this in a different form to see if that helps. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what the issue is. So let us just continue. I'm just going to be speaking to you without the support of the slides. But first of all, a heartfelt thank you for inviting me to join you in this Define Your Legacy Summit. My name is Gabriela Jaeger. I'm the co-founder of Global Changemakers, and it is really a pleasure to be here today to speak to you about the significance of youth participation and the importance of supporting youth-led projects in sustainable development. So my organization, Global Changemakers, has a mission to support youth to create positive change towards inclusive, fair, and sustainable communities. For the past 15 years, this subject has kept me happily busy. The challenges we face in the world today, such as inequalities, poverty, and climate change, only push us to require for effective solutions. And to create a better future for us all, we must recognize and harness the power of young people, the global change makers, who have the power to shape the world we want to see. My organization has been a pioneer in supporting youth-led initiatives globally. We've been doing this since 2009. And to give you a little bit of context, 15 years ago, I developed a granting process for young people to start and sustain their own initiatives and change-making projects. To be quite honest, at the very beginning, I thought that the initiatives were going to be limited to schools or community centers, perhaps a campaign here or there. But today, I'm extremely proud to share with you that our organization has supported more than 460 youth-led initiatives, leading to beneficiate more than 16 million people globally. There are many examples of very prominent young people that are doing great things for the world. The first one, and I think you all know her, is that of Malala. Malala, at the age of 15, was unfortunately attacked by a terrorist attack from Taliban, targeting her outspoken activism. Surviving the attack, Malala continued to be one of the most outspoken actors to bring about attention about the importance of letting girls be educated. She co-authored the memoir I Am Malala and became the youngest Nobel Peace Prize in 2014 at the age of 17. Another prominent example is that of Greta Thunberg, a Swedish girl who started skipping school and protesting alone outside of the Swedish parliament, demanding stronger climate action. Her solo protest soon inspired many young people around the world in what became now a global movement that we all know by Fridays for Future or School Strike for Climate Change. Greta's outspoken and very passionate work has inspired millions. She has been probably what we call now the face of the fight against climate change, inspiring millions of young people to join her. Another very prominent example is that of Boyan Slat. Boyan, at the age of 16, created an organization that, using very innovative technologies, is cleaning the world ocean from plastic waste, a subject that we just heard from and that we know is having a huge, huge impact in all of our lives, in the ecosystems of the world, and in our health. These are only 3 examples of very prominent young people that are known for their activism and that show the power that they can have. Within the global change makers organizations, as I mentioned before, we have supported more than 460 initiatives that are bringing about change. Some of them are involving young people installing solar panels in remote villages, schools in Malawi, providing electricity to deprived students. Or a girl in El Salvador who is teaching other girls to build robots using scrap materials. Organizations that are providing safe drinking water in Venezuela, or that are bringing access to mental health care in Switzerland. We have also supporting life-saving campaigns to teach basic hygiene measures that have a huge impact in reducing non-communicable diseases in Bangladesh. I am only sharing a very few of these examples because, as I mentioned before, there are 460 only in our organization. And there are thousands and thousands of other young people. So these are just a drop in the ocean about the impact young people can have in the development of our world. These remarkable individuals leading these endeavors remind us of the boundless potential within every young person to shape our world positively. Their work shows that talking about change is not enough, and we must actively support young people and involve them by providing them with resources, create a platform for their ideas to flourish, and allowing them to bring about all these innovative ideas that are helping us improve our world. Youth participation in development is not just about inclusion. It is a necessity to sustainable progress. Young people bring fresh perspectives, innovation, and their unique understanding of challenges we face today. There are several reasons why youth participation and support for youth-led projects are crucial for sustainable development. Firstly, as I mentioned before, young people bring fresh ideas and innovative approaches to address world problems. Their unique perspectives allow them to think outside the box and propose novel solutions to the challenges we face. Secondly, youth-led projects foster a sense of ownership and responsibility among young people. By actively engaging them in designing and implementing initiatives, we're deepening their understanding of the issues and strengthening their commitment to finding sustainable solutions. Thirdly, supporting youth-led projects nurtures leadership skills, capacity building, and by providing them with mentorship and resources, we empower them to become effective leaders and agents of change. What happened? Am I still here?
Yep, yes, you are here.
Okay, I'm seeing myself double, but anyway, I'll just continue. Thirdly, youth-led projects nurtures a sense of leadership skills, capacity building, and yeah, as I mentioned, providing resources only enhances their capacity to bring about positive change. And furthermore, and most importantly, supporting young people, inspire other young people to join their journey. The example that I shared with about Greta is just one reflection of how seeing how one young person can have an impact in an important problem or a challenge that we're having, inspire millions of others to take action. So my organization, Global Change Makers, we provide a platform for young people between the ages of 16 and 30 to develop their leadership skills, networking with other young people, and access to resources and support to implement their own social projects. We believe that by supporting young people in making a positive impact, we are allowing the world to use the potential of all these amazing people. Through our programs and initiatives, we encourage youth participation, innovation, and entrepreneurship. So, in conclusion, the importance of youth participation and supporting youth-led projects for sustainable development cannot be overstated. Young people are not active beneficiaries, they're agents of change, and we need to support them, enhance their capacity to bring about further action and to lead us to a more sustainable future. So let us embrace the potential of young people, support their initiatives, provide them with opportunities to lead a difference. And together with organizations like all the ones present today, we can really work for a more sustainable world. I just wanted to now invite you to connect with us. There are several ways in which you can get involved with our organization. First of all, and the easiest is obviously by following on social media. We're present in all the major social media outlets, but we also have a newsletter. So if you're interested, by all means, do subscribe there. We have plenty of resources that are downloadable from our website that are meant to help young people and teach them how to lead sustainable projects and how to be effective in the work that they're doing. We also have a YouTube channel that has plenty of webinars for this end as well, teaching young people how they can be effective agents of change with very, very specific skills that they need to this end. We also have a podcast that you can subscribe to and listen to wherever you get your podcasts. And this is meant to inspire you and hear the fantastic stories of the thousands of young people that are doing great things for the world in all areas of sustainable development. We have an online school with courses that are taught by young people who have the experience of actually leading change. We have courses on project management, on facilitation, on ecology, and on menstruation and sexual and reproductive health. And these are available in a number of languages, so by all means, check them out. And well, lastly, once again, a heartfelt thank you, Tina, for your patience and for moderating marvelously this summit. Louis, for inviting me, Loretta, for putting this together. Thank you all for listening. And once again, a huge, huge apology. I don't know what happened. I promise I did rehearse and had my presentation, but anyway, sometimes technology is not on our side. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And you know, sometimes when we have slides, they're really helpful because they help the speaker just kind of remember where you're going. But I had no question in my mind that you knew exactly what you wanted to say and what you wanted to share. So it comes from your heart and we get it and we got it. So thank you again. And once again, I'll reiterate, not only do these wonderful people have ideas and passions and research, they have ways for you to get involved. Just look at the list of different ways that we can involve youth and mentors. And so I hope that you're getting inspired as well. I certainly am, and thinking about getting in touch with you with my program. So, you know, so there we go. Okay, so our next guest is Dana Ahmed. And Dana is passionate about law and politics. She's a student involved in youth participation, accessible education, and ocean preservation matters. Do you think that we have a little theme here? Yes, she has attained the International Baccalaureate diploma and studied environmental systems and societies and global politics, the higher level, while researching the correlation between ocean waste production and gender and the role of youth in promoting climate action and its impact on achieving the SDGs. As a climate and an ocean advocate, Dana is passionate about the members most affected by the lack of urgency in this climate crisis, especially those on the spectrum of autism, and has thus founded Eco Spectrum, the first app in the world that aims to elevate the inclusivity of students and youth within the spectrum of autism in climate action and ocean conservation discussions. I have chills just from the bio. Dana, where are you? Welcome. Is Dana here? Louis, is Dana here?
No, I believe that Dana has not been able to join yet. She shared with us that she may be able to join a little bit later. So let's maybe move on to the next speaker. And if or when Dana is joining, then we can bring her forward. Thank you.
Okay, so you have heard her bio, and I anticipate her being here. And if not, we will know how to get in touch with her. And at the same time, I see the chat going, and just reach out, put your LinkedIn profile. Again, this is a networking event, so it doesn't end just here. Okay, so Remy, we hope that Remy's internet bandwidth is really with us today. Remy Chukwunyere, and again, I probably am not pronouncing it correctly, is a serial entrepreneur, a leadership and a startups coach with over 22 years of experience working both in government and nonprofit sectors. He's the executive director of the Ugwamba Center for Leadership Development in Africa, an organization whose mission is to raise a new generation of leaders and entrepreneurs for Africa. As a startups mentor, he was recently appointed the global ambassador for Nigeria at the IDEAX Ventures in the UK. He's also the policy and strategy advisor for the Rojas Foundation, a charity organization that has awarded scholarships and trained over 20,000 children from less privileged families in Nigeria and Africa. Currently, he is studying for an executive MBA at the Quantic School of Business and Technology, USA, and a Master of Science at the Tet Fund Center of Excellence in Public Governance and Leadership at the University of Abuja. So welcome, Remy, and I see you on here, and let's hope that your bandwidth is with us, because we're with you.
Thank you. Good afternoon from Nigeria. Good afternoon. This is Remy Chukwunyere. So sorry about my network. You know, it's a pity, but you have to manage with what we have. Okay, good. So let me see if I can share my screen. Okay. Yeah, I prepared something. Okay, can you see me? Can you see that?
Almost. There we go.
Can you see that?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I decided to put this together, you know, so that I can be guided during the discussion. And again, because of time, because I didn't want, I don't want us to, I don't want to take much of your time because of, you know, the different time zones that we are based in. Okay, so like we have, I'm going to talk about the importance of community development and support for youth leadership, you know, for a sustainable future. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to be talking about. Like she read out, I have done some work in the public and the private sector, and all this while the focus has been on young people. You know, I'm so lucky that over these years, over 22 years, I've been working in with young people, and And that's really interesting because I've taken time to study the dynamics, that young people face, especially trying to grow up and after leaving school in terms of transitioning into the workplace. So now this afternoon, I'll be looking at community development and how all of these create a sustainable future. So the key questions I would like us to look at, or my presentation will be addressing. One, what is community development? I want us to first of all understand what is this thing called community development. Then the next is, what does positive youth leadership mean? What does it mean to us? Then what is sustainable future? And we'll also look at the relationships, the interplay between community development, youth leadership, and sustainable future. So these are some of the key questions that my presentation will attempt to answer this afternoon. Okay. First of all, I would want us to look at community development. Everywhere you go, you hear about community development. So I try to get us a few definitions from important sources, to be able to digest the meaning of the word community development. So just like you have seen there, according to the Australian Institute of Family Studies, community development is a process, whereby community members identify and take collective actions on issues that are important to them. I want you to take note of some of these words that I decided to highlight. One of them is identify. The community members, they come together, they identify problems, challenges that need solutions in their communities. So when they identify those problems or challenges, they take collective action. They work together to solve those problems. These are some of the dynamics I want us to take note of. Then again, looking at another definition from the UNDP, that's United Nations Development Program. Now, they said that community development involves the collaborative efforts of individuals. Now, look at again, in the first place, according to the Australian Institute, we saw collective actions. And now UNDP is telling us about collaborative efforts of individuals, members of the community, organizations that operate in those communities, or even institutions that are based there. They come together, to take collective actions to address either social or economic or even environmental issues that they have. Good. Now, what it means is that, okay, before I go there, now let me also tell you something. Another definition says that community development encompasses a range of activities aimed at improving the well-being and quality of lives within the community. Now, what it means is that by promoting, what it means is that community development helps to promote strong connections, either between the people and the community and the organizations that operate in them, or the institutions that are based or are located in the communities. So it promotes strong connections and social cohesion. Now, while that is going on, is also empowering individuals, because by the time members of the communities gather to take collective actions, they are also learning on the job. They are learning in the field, and it also helps to solve the problems that all of them are being faced with. So you can see that community development creates a sense of belonging and shared responsibility, because it gets everybody involved in the process of trying to solve the problem or the challenge that is facing the community. Thank you. Now, before we go to the other one, I also identified some key elements of community development. You know, just to add to what I have just said earlier. Now, it leads to participation and engagement, because for you to solve the problem, you gather the people as a community, then they participate and engage in the process of solving that problem. Then, like I said before, there is collaboration and partnership. You know, people bring together their expertise, you know, to be able to solve the problem that is facing the community. So just like I have here, we say building and nurturing partnership between community members, organizations, and various stakeholders to leverage resources, expertise, and support for community development efforts. These are the things, the key elements that go with community development. Then there's also what I have here that is called social justice and equity, addressing systematic inequalities, promoting inclusivity, and advocating for the equitable distribution of resources. They are the things that go with community development, because the people come together to address social inequalities for the good of everyone, every member of the community. Now, let's go to support for youth leadership. So what is it about? Youth leadership is said to be a catalyst for change and innovation within community development initiatives. Now, like I said, I work with young people, and youth leadership development is one of our major focuses, because we strongly believe that to solve the issue of unemployment and development challenges bedeviling Nigeria and Africa, we need to begin to grow the next generation of leaders that will come out of these countries. So that is why my organization at Tugumba Leadership Center, our focus is on young people and women, because we believe that these young people are heavily endowed. So what it takes is to help them develop the skills and the passions that they have, so that they can become better leaders of the society. And then to tackle the unemployment crisis that is ravaging the youth population, there's no way that you can create jobs without also equipping the young people with the leadership skills that they need to become better managers of their businesses and investors in the economy. You know, so now we are tapping into the amazing resources that the young people are bestowed with. So the youth leadership is now, it becomes a catalyst for change and innovation within any community development initiative. Now, their technological savvy and entrepreneurial mindsets enable them to find novel solutions to complex challenges, thereby accelerating sustainable development outcomes. These are the things that happen when you get young people involved in community development initiatives. Now, a report from by World Economic Forum agrees with the above when it affirmed that young leaders are often at the forefront of adopting new technologies, leveraging digital platforms, and embracing social media to amplify their message and mobilize support. That is the truth of the matter. As we speak today, here in Nigeria, there is almost a general elections. But the reason is because they became interested in politics and in the democratic movement. And that's why we saw what we saw last time. And that we never stop, because it's like fire, we want until what the people change the narrative as far as the political system in Nigeria is concerned. Now, therefore, community development, you cannot develop the community or your society if you do not support youth leadership. Young people have a lot to offer, and that is organizations and the societies that understand this, they are embracing that, and they are better for it as we speak today. Okay, now, so what is sustainable future? Now I want us to look at sustainability as a word. This is a term that relates to the development of goods and services that involves meeting our present needs without compromising the ability of future generations to fulfill their own needs. Now, most times people associate this with environment, but it is more than environment. It's beyond environment, because it can also be explored in other contexts, such as economic development and social responsibility. Okay. Okay, so it is beyond environment. It has a lot more to do, not just about environment, because for the future to be sustainable, every other thing has to be sustainable. You know, so human beings live in harmony with the environment, therefore conserving resources for their future generations, so that everyone enjoys social justice and a high quality of life. So let's look at how all of these interrelate with each other. I'm talking about community development, I'm talking about youth leadership, and then the sustainable future that we are looking at. Now, in each 2017 report, the National Collaborative on Workforce and Disability for Youth said that supporting youth leadership empowers the next generation of change makers and decision makers. It nurtures leadership skills, enhances critical thinking abilities, and fosters civic engagement. Now, this is the truth, because from the work that we do in Nigeria, we have discovered that, you know, when these young people are pushed, just like when you challenge someone, you see that he builds resistance and comes up with better ideas of trying to overcome the obstacle. You know, so there's a program we call the Ugumba Enterprise Challenge, which is a job creation program that brings young people together and then challenge their critical thinking abilities, and then, you know, to see how they can turn their ideas into business ventures. At the end of the day, we find out that most of these young people that came without any business idea, they leave with amazing ideas that today are changing the way things are done in the society. Now, what it means is that when you support youth leadership, you are empowering a new generation of change makers, by equipping them with new skills and also critical thinking abilities that will change them forever. Therefore, by investing in the development of young people, communities ensure there is a pipeline of capable individuals who can drive sustainable development efforts in the future. By equipping young people for today, you are preparing a new generation of leaders for tomorrow. So that is exactly what we are doing in Nigeria and in Africa. We are raising a new generation of leaders and entrepreneurs for Africa. We don't just want to continue to recycle the set of people that have been there several years ago. We want a new generation that will take over the leadership space, as well as, you know, those who will take over the business ecosystem. We are raising them today to prepare them for tomorrow. So again, by promoting collaborations, innovations, and intergenerational dialogues, communities can effectively address societal challenges and build more comprehensive and sustainable solutions. Again, still, with just like the last speaker said, we, as an organization, we collaborate with other organizations who buy into the visions that we have set up, visions and objectives that we have set up to achieve. And as we go on, we innovate our programs, come up with better ways of doing them so that they can lead to more sustainable solutions. Good. So now, okay, I'm almost done. Okay, so like, yeah, so like, hello.
Okay.
Can you hear
good.
me?
We're good.
Can you
Yes,
hear
we
me?
can hear you. Yes, Remy, we can
Okay,
hear you.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So, like I said, I also saw the intergenerational connection that we have in this meeting. You know, so by the time we connect with those that are ahead of us, those that also know more than us, you know, it builds us and prepares us for the future, thereby, you know, making preparing the society for a sustainable future. So at this juncture, yeah, because of time and at this juncture, I want to thank you for the opportunity given to me to speak in this summit. And I want to also use the opportunity to say that community development and support for youth leadership, they are very, very important if we want to achieve a sustainable future. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Remy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we're going to come back to the main screen. Awesome. What I do know about every speaker that we have here, they are the founders of movements. Movement is not just a one-person event. I know for me, you know, being passionate about what I'm passionate, and you and each person on this screen, but as we join together, we join these movements that actually move, you know, move people, move lives, move us in the direction that we are praying that our energies can really kind of make a big, big, big difference in this world. So again, thank you, Remy, and thank you again for each one of our speakers so far. And we have Benno. Benno is here. Benno Werlen, he's a professor. He holds the UNESCO Chair on Global Understanding for Sustainability, the Friedrich Schiller University in Germany. He's a fellow of the World Academy of Arts and Sciences, a member of the Academia Europea, the initiator of the director of the 2016 International Year of Global Understanding, which was approved by UNESCO, the General Conference, and the Jena Declaration. For almost a decade, he served as a panel member of the European Research Council. So Benno, thank you so much for being here, and we welcome you and looking forward to what you have to share with us. You're on mute, Benno. There we go. Whoops, there we go.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Thank you very much, Tina, for the kind introduction. Getting the invitation to present at this conference was leading first to a big question mark on my side. What can be my role? What can I contribute on the background Tina just presented? Watching the videos about the founding motivation, the aims and claims of the network, and talking to Lorena and Luis about the potential cooperation with the Jena Declaration, let the question mark quickly dissolve. I immediately understood that the mission to elaborate action-centered approaches for community development and socioeconomic sustainability for women is a core dimension of their project. Especially its focus on women captured my attention. But not only. Also, the addressed interconnection of community development and socioeconomic sustainability captured my attention right away. So I would like to use the allocated time on the cultural dimension of it, calling for a new understanding of sustainability, one that is perhaps more suitable to fostering a special attention to women's concern. To the elaboration of community-related understanding of sustainability, I would like to highlight three related points. Traditionally, sustainability is directly linked to the environment. We heard that in many presentations, but there are also some critical comments already about that orientation. Suitable is what is good for the environment, generally speaking. Consequently, the principles of sustainability are drawn from the need of the environment. This includes social sustainability policies according to the environmental, respectively, natural scientific specifications, and not ones of community or societal life. The reason for these understandings are manifold. Due to the limited time, I cannot elaborate in that debate. I would rather offer an alternative understanding based on 3 principles. All 3 principles are drawn from my current project, the Jena Declaration, in partnership with the Club of Rome and the World Academy of Art and Science, which was initiated by Albert Einstein. The first is a very simple one, but at the same time, often forgotten. Nature is not our environment opposed to us. And this because we are, with our body, part of nature. It's not the environment, we are part of it. The way we understand, transform, and shape nature depends on our cultural background. Therefore, sustainability is in fact about us as part of nature, and this always with specific cultural backgrounds. If you assume that the way we transform nature for our own purposes depend on our culture, then it becomes obvious that sustainability must start from there and not primarily from the environment. From this first principle follows the call for the first shift of paradigm in sustainability policies, a shift from nature to culture as the starting point and goal of sustainability. The second principle follows directly from there. It refers to the insight that true change to sustainability can only be achieved if people begin to change their everyday routines and practices. Sustainability is more than just a fashion. It is a mindset that enables us to live sustainably, establishing ways of connecting with the world to find sustainable solutions for everyday problems in most diverse contexts is directly bound up to culture and depend on its implementation by everyone's everyday practices. Since both cultural and natural conditions of everyday practices have a regional component, there cannot be one solution for all people. Rather, different solutions must be developed to achieve global sustainability. This called for a second paradigm shift from the current top-down strategy to a bottom-up strategy that promotes and supports civil engagement. To implement these 2 principles, a third one is necessary. It calls for civic engagement. Real grassroots policies enable the use of the forces and creativity of concerned citizens of all generations, but especially of women and young members of our global community. To strengthen civic engagement is first of all the basis for what Women of Concern Professional and Strategic Consciousness Network is working for: community development towards cultural, social, and economic sustainability. To make this attempt most fruitful, the 2 mentioned shifts of paradigm need to be accomplished. And it calls for a focus on direct democracy. The link between the global challenge and the civic is at stake, neither relying on nor excluding collaboration with governments and governing bodies. The Vienna Declaration is a network of human and social science-based and cultural actions for achieving sustainable social transformation, with already about 120 institutional partners. It's based on the International Year of Global Understanding, where we activated more than 40 regional action centers across the globe, innovating, organizing thousands of events during 2016. The Vienna Declaration is most of all an invitation to make sustainable development happen at our doorstep, to mobilize people around the planet, and to enable fruitful outcomes of their engagement. And Women of Concern Professional and Strategic Conscious Networking is making an important contribution to this, helping everyone, that's how I see the importance of the network, helping everyone to relate in the most suitable way to the world, to the most suitable and sustainable way to the world. I'm looking forward to this cooperation with great enthusiasm. Thank you very much for the opportunity to having me. Thank you.
Thank you, Benno. I mean, you just put the whole conference in perspective. So I loved the comment of the paradigm shift. And you see lots of hands around and hearts, and you made it so very simple. I know that you have an academic background, and I would have loved to have been in your classroom. And so we have a few minutes. Our next guest, I do believe, is on her way, but this is just a great opportunity to kind of put your comments. You can raise your hand if you want to make a comment at this moment. And again, I'm most interested, I'm a very practical, action-oriented person. Let's just hear one thing that you can take from any one of these speakers and put it in your lives today. What has inspired you? Who has inspired you? What are you going to do from this conversation rather than just kind of closing off and, oh, that was great. Anybody, you could just kind of raise your hand. I can see them, and I can call on you. Don't be shy. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm passionate about youth and passionate about teaching them the skills that they need to be able to emotionally regulate themselves so that the rage and the anger doesn't take over. I believe that's my little slice of world peace that I can offer. So that's me. Who else? Okay, from Lagos, Stephen. Let's hear it.
Yes, thank you very much. And I want to say a very big thank you to everyone that has spoken so far. What I intend to do, or what I'm currently working on, is starting a kind of hub, a leadership hub, right? And yeah, to multiply leaders, you know, especially for K-12 students. So yes, that is what I intend to work on. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much. Leadership, how many times have we heard that today? Over and over and over. You know, everybody is not a born leader. There's some people who have a propensity towards it, but everybody can be taught these leadership skills. Thank you. Madalena, how about you?
Hi, everyone. My name is Mandalena. I'm based in New York, and I am a co-chair of the UN and International Organizations Committee at the American Bar Association section of International Law. My goal is to promote rule of law and quality education, SDG 16 and SDG 4, and make young professionals, especially young women, get more involved in the legal profession.
There you go. This is a country of laws. And if we want change, we have to get involved in that way, in some way. Oh, thank you so much. Benjamin, how about you?
Hello, thank you very much. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Great. Okay, so my name is Benjamin. I'm an environmental consultant in Ghana. And one thing I've learned and one action I hope to take is to gather within my community, the youth, so that we can learn to be environmentally conscious. We can train ourselves to also spread the word so that we can efficiently use the resources we have and also leave some for generations to come. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you. Karanta, I hope I pronounced your name correctly.
You did, correct. Yes, thank you
Okay.
very much. It is a very insightful conference. And my takeaway from this conference is the readiness of the people to work in collaboration in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. And I think that is something very, very significant, because most of the speakers, what they talk about is all about inclusivity, social inclusions. So what that depicts is that nobody should be left behind. And how to do that is through collaboration. That is what I take away from this conference. And I think this is something that we can further, not only at this moment, but through collaboration, coordinating and monitoring and evaluating the successes towards the Sustainable Development Goals, as 2030 is very, very near to our doors. And to achieve all these 17 points, we need to evaluate how far have we gone, how far have we achieved, and what is the time left to achieve the rest. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm inspired by you as well. Jacob, come on on, Jacob. You can unmute. There you go.
Is there something specific about collective impact? No, I was just speaking, I totally agree with the previous comments about collaboration and working together is really the only way to move forward. And really, I'm a pro hop out of the silo type of guy.
Yes, thank you, Jacob. Jacob has been active. He came onto my show, Under the Hood, where I talk about how the impact of childhood patterns impact us as grownups. And that's kind of what we're all talking about. And, a lot of these kids come from really, really difficult backgrounds. And we have a lot of work to do to be able to bring them up to be able to utilize so many of the wonderful things that you're doing. So we have to meet people where they are. So thank you, Jacob. Who else? We have a little bit more time. We're hoping again that our next guest is going to come on in a few minutes. So I know that there's a whole bunch of you on here. Yes.
Actually, Dana Ahmed was able to join just now. So if you could please and maybe reshare her bio. She is available for us. Thank you so much for joining, Dana.
Oh, how wonderful. Wonderful. So Dana, we've been talking a lot about youth, and here you are to represent your generation. So Dana is passionate about law and politics. She's a student that's involved in youth participation, accessible education, and ocean preservation matters. She's attained the International Baccalaureate Diploma and studied environmental systems and societies and global politics, while researching the correlation between ocean waste production and gender and the role of youth in promoting climate action and its impact on achieving the SDGs. As a climate and an ocean advocate, Dana is passionate about the members most affected by the lack of urgency, and I repeat that again, in the climate crisis, especially those on the spectrum of autism, and has thus founded the Spectrum, the first app in the world that aims to elevate the inclusivity of students and youth within the spectrum of autism in climate action and ocean conservation discussion. So thank you so much, Dana, for joining us, and we welcome and hear what you have to say.
So much, Tina and Lewis. Again, I apologize for everyone who's been waiting for me to talk, but I'm here now. And I'm very, very grateful and honored to be with you all. And I'm grateful to speak as well about my organization, as well as the importance of ocean preservation, just in general, globally, and especially how it impacts my region, the Middle East, and my generation as well. I'd like to first begin by starting by speaking about my work with EcoSpectrum and MENA Eco in the ocean and climate sphere. So I founded EcoSpectrum last year in 2022, and it has only come to light very, very recently in September of 2022. And the idea kind of grew because I was born and raised in the United Arab Emirates, which has the second highest rate of autism in the world. But the great thing about living in the UAE is that this is the issue or the issues that lie within the accessibility of information in general and accessibility of youth on the spectrum of autism to society is something that has always been spoken and advocated for in the UAE, given the really high rates of autism in the country. But unfortunately, that doesn't apply to everywhere in the Middle East or Middle East and North African region. I'm Egyptian, and I always consider myself to represent Egypt wherever I go instead of the United Arab Emirates, because that is where my home and my family is. And in Egypt, I started a new initiative called the Aswar Initiative, named after my granddad, whose name actually translates to white bird. I named it after him because he is the reason why I got into the ocean and climate sphere. He's someone who's very, very connected to the climate and taught me everything I know about the climate and the oceans and also my country's history as someone who wasn't born and raised in Egypt. But the initiative works with an island on the Nile, on the other side of the Nile. So it's completely segregated from the mainlands of Cairo, and it's called Al-Qursaya Island. And they are completely dependent on the Nile. And the Nile is actually one of the top 10 most polluted bodies of water in the world. So it is definitely not sanitary, or it's not, you're not able to drink from the Nile or rely on the Nile for any kind of foundational, fundamental living sources. But unfortunately, that island and the rest of Egyptians, 98% of Egyptians, actually rely on the Nile as their main source of drinking water. And even though it can be fertilized, it is, given the amount of pollution in the Nile, there continues to be forms of bacteria and viruses that are carried in the Nile. So it is not supposed to be, you cannot drink from it, and it's not meant to be drunk. And my granddad passed away on the 3rd of January. And one of the reasons that he struggled with when he reached the age of dementia and he got Alzheimer's was that he was not able to retain any of the water that he was drinking from inside his body, mainly because of the inaccessibility of the cleanliness of the water, but also additionally is because of the rising temperatures in Egypt that made him sweat and release all the water that he was retaining in his body and other forms as well. So he was not able to, because of the lack of water in his body, he was also unable to move, and he was chronically partially paralyzed. And it would be really, really harsh on him as well during summers, where he would be unable to move completely. And that's just a glimpse into the issue of water scarcity and how important the oceans are in the MENA region. The Persian Gulf and the oceans that we have access to is the hottest ocean in the world. And the Red Sea, which is the ocean that is accessible to Egypt, is actually one of the most biodiverse oceans in the world, as well as an ocean that is said by scientists, and Dr. Sylvia Earle, who is the ocean, the ocean scientist, is said to actually be a hope spot. Meaning that our corals and our marine ecosystems in the Red Sea are set to survive beyond 1.5 degrees, which is something that is very uncommon, and many marine ecosystems as well as terrestrial ecosystems are meant to die at if we are to reach 1.5 degrees and beyond, which is what we are trying to stay below by 2030. Now, a lot of people might be kind of confused and be unaware of how ocean preservation and climate protection links to youth on the spectrum of autism, and how I really kind of gathered and garnered that information from both sectors and from both worlds in Egypt and in the UAE and in the Middle East and as a region, and how I managed to connect that to my work. Again, I was born and raised in the UAE that has the second highest rates of autism, but also it's obviously one of the hottest countries in the MENA region and in the globe. And because of that, that impacts people on the spectrum's sensory abilities and sensory skills. And because of the rising temperature, the pressure and the stress that adds to your mental health and your mental stability can also play off to lead to burnout or breakdown in people with ASD. And not only that is in itself a crisis, but when we're talking specifically about the increasing temperatures and the warming of sea and the rising of the sea levels and the warming of the globe, that also makes dealing with climate disasters an even bigger issue, because it sets that barrier for them not being able to even access disaster relief, or even have any forms of relief in general, mental relief or physical relief, because of the mental health and stability impact that the climate crisis and climate disasters cause, which we all know we are more prone to now than ever because of the inaction of our leaders. And especially with ocean governance, 71% of our planet is the ocean. And I know this is a very basic fact, but we tend to forget a lot of the time that 71% of our Earth is made up of water and is made up of our oceans. And yet SDG 14, which is life below water, is the least funded SDG out of all the SDGs. And I find that a crisis in itself, because if we were to give 1/4, or not even 1/4, it can be 1/10 of the information and the energy and the money and the funding and the resources contributed to ocean governance that we contribute instead to terrestrial ecosystems, we would not be this deep into the crisis. Because in fact, we are actually caring about only very, very little of our planet, instead of caring the most about what most of our planet is made of. Ocean is so vital for our lives. And I'm not talking about the life of our ecosystems and life cycle, but it directly impacts our livelihoods. And I focus on very niche communities, such as the community of Al-Qursaya Island in Egypt, and people on the spectrum of autism, who, even though we have amazing climate leaders such as Greta Thunberg, who are very outspoken about being on the spectrum, we have yet to have a collective platform that gathers and makes information accessible. And climate information in general is not accessible to my generation. And even UNFCCC processes. I just came back from the Bonn Climate Conference in Germany, SV58, and even the information on there and the process in itself is very, very complicated and complex, and it's literally created to push aside the most vulnerable communities. I have friends who are meant to be at that conference and who weren't there because of visa issues, of funding issues, of being segregated and being not treated well by German embassies across the world. So these processes are not made to include us, and they are not made to include the stories of the most vulnerable communities. And there's a lot of, as well, not just greenwashing and youth washing, but there's ocean washing, because even though everyone knows that the ocean is at the heart of the protection of humankind, it is still continued to not only be completely segregated from climate negotiations, but we continue to also be played in those processes under the name of ocean governance and ocean-focused solutions, but that is yet to exist. And if you are to have access to COPs and to UNFCCC processes, you would know that that has yet to exist. And we have such a long way to go, and we need a lot more funding, and we need to have much better accessibility to climate and ocean information. And that is really what I try to do and what I raise awareness on. And I don't know if I'm going over time, but I'm going to kind of end this by a call for action. Talk to your governments, talk to your friends, and talk to your family. about oceans and about the importance of the oceans. There is an abundance of information on ocean governance and protection, and also how the most vulnerable communities across the world are impacted by the crisis, and especially by the ocean crisis. And I like to not even call it a climate crisis, because I mainly think it's an ocean crisis. And I think we wouldn't be in a climate crisis if it wasn't for us neglecting our oceans, and that's just my belief. But yeah, read about deep seabed mining. It is a huge issue that is impacting all of us, and that is also being greenwashed in the name of trying to create batteries to protect our planet and to create more carbon-friendly and ocean and climate-friendly resources. But it is actually mining the most vulnerable and most biodiverse ecosystem of our planet that is the heart of humankind, and is the reason we're alive today. So please read about the seabed mining, read about the stuff that your governments and people don't really talk about. Don't be afraid to be compassionate with communities that aren't your own. We need you, and we need your voice, and we need your representation, and we need you as a human to just feel for the vulnerable communities that are in countries in the global south. And yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dana. You know, I'm sitting here and thinking, the problem we always say is the people who are already in power are not doing what they can do to be powerful. And we wait for your generation to come forth to take over. But the truth of what you just said is we need to join forces. Those who are in power and have power need to join forces with your generation, because who are the people that are actually making the changes and that can make them now? And so I would also just highly recommend to all of you to connect with Dana and what she's doing and how she can take her message to your communities, and we can all get involved. So thank you so much. That was so beautiful. I have one more person that I want to get back to before I introduce our wonderful founder and CEO, Loretta. And Dacia, you had your hand up earlier and I didn't catch you. And just kind of share anything that you want to share about what you're taking in today.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Dacia from Benin. I'm very happy to be there because this is a great summit and insight of things. I learn more. Me, I work for about a social venture where I want to empower young orphans who haven't the possibility to get job or to, and there are many in our city. I want to build a solar smart freezer. I will give for it. They can use it for selling fresh products in our city. Thank you. It is my project.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. And now I want to introduce the founder and the CEO of WOCPSCN, Women of Concern, Professionals. I forget the S. CNN. I keep trying to learn this. Lewis and Loretta get this off their tongues so quickly, and I just don't. But Loretta, you are the one. And we don't need to introduce a whole long bio for Loretta, but if you want to know her from the inside out, I did a wonderful interview with her called, on my podcast, Under the Hood, and you can find it on my YouTube channel, and look for Loretta, because you will find the underpinnings of this fabulous, insightful, inspiring leader. So take it away, Loretta.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Tina. And thank you everyone who is with us today and have that concern that we are talking about, that concern that takes us to levels of understanding, that concern that fosters us to move when we don't want to move, when we act when we don't want to act, when we cry when we have to cry, when we moan because we have to moan. That's your not. That's when you just cannot not do it, and your heart is heavy, but you got to keep going. You got to keep moving. That's why we're here today, because we want to get additional connections, additional alignments, additional reinforcement that we're not crazy. We know something going on. Now, they might try to fool us, but we know something going on, and we calling folk out. Because you know me now, I don't mind calling folk out. I tell them, I said, if you need somebody politically correct, I ain't the one, because I'll say what it is. But we just want to thank so very much for our guests, and I want to share how important, how impactful what they were talking about, because what they did is they brought in our 4 pillars. Now, possibly they didn't know it, but they did. And so when Gabriela was talking about youth, that is our urban girl, suburban swirl. And what we do is we develop leadership skills and self-esteem in young girls through sports, mind you. We create that leadership through sports, not as a sports program, but as a tool to enhance and increase their leadership. There's a difference. All right, so it's not a sports program. It's a leadership program that we use sports as the tool to get them to that leadership skill set. And then Bertha was talking about that gender equity. Well, listen, our core is gender equity and equality. It's in our DNA, it's in our name, women of concerned professionals, women. Now, does that mean we're excluding the male? No, 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 no. Half of our board of trustees is males, and we appreciate Louis, who's on the board, and Abi is here with us, he's on the board, but we also want to thank Cheryl and Amanda, who are board members with us as well. And Dr. Geetha, she impacted us so much that we had to have her here. And what is she talking about? Global sustainability. Well, that's one of our pillars as well. And Remy talking about community development, which blew my mind, because I did not, honestly, I didn't tell her to say that. Talking about community development. That is what we are all about. Dr. Beadle just brought it all together. And I'm so excited that WOCPSCN is creating a partnership with him so we can move globally to make sure that these conversations move forward and address what Dana is talking about. How the dominant tries to remove us from the discourse. How the dominants try to push us aside and tell us we are not in the right place. I'm telling you, I weigh 165 pounds. I am not easily moved. I'm just saying, I am not easily moved. So that's what we're looking at. And so how can you do that through WOCPSCN? Well, we have something called the UN SDG 5, where they're the e-learning initiative. Go to the website. There are actually free learning processes that you can go through. We offer you a membership just because you'll go through those. We also have something that we call our from partnership from principle to practice series. And our own Dr. Amanda is going to be leading that. But what's important about that is these conversations we're having here, we're taking it to the next level, where we'll actually support and train people to get a greater understanding on how to activate the work they're doing. Now, as an organization, we have 11 initiatives. Gotta find something with us. But the impact and the importance of that is for communities that want action, but may not know how to implement action. We have it. And we help and move and motivate. And that's what we do. We do the work. So we're not about the, if you don't want to work, we're not the organization for you. I'm just saying, because you have to come here to go to work. Can we make a difference? Absolutely. Can we create change? Yes, definitely. All we going to do, as long as I got breath, we gonna make that change. So thank you for all your commitment, your time to be with us today and to hear what we have to say. And we advise you, we recommend to you, we employ to you, don't give up the fight. Listen, I'm of Jamaican lineage. You see my colors, you see my yellow, green, there's my black. Yeah, I'm wearing the flag. And what did the famous Honorable Bob Marley said? Get up, stand up, right? Get up, stand up. That's it. My knees hurt sometimes. It's hard to get up real quick, but I still get up. Thank you, Tina.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And I think everybody, if you put a little hand together for the work that Loretta is doing, not has done, but it continues to do. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I'm wondering, Lewis, has Melida been able to join us?
No, so hi Tina, so no, Dr. Melida is still on her way to join us. So I believe that Loretta can still take over for now for the remainder of the summit. And I know that Dr. Melida will join very shortly.
Okay, so why don't I read Melida's bio so you know who's coming and why she's coming, because Loretta's going to tell you that, so that we can kind of bring her in. So she was born in Panama City. She is Dr. Melida Harris Barrow is the founder of the 6th Global Chamber of Commerce and visionary behind the journey of reconciliation of Mother Africa and her diaspora. She is also a Universal Peace Ambassador for Panama. She's an author, international bestseller, motivational speaker, life coach, and talk show host. As the CEO of Love, Truth, and Peace Global Initiative, the World Trade Investment Foundation, and the Harris Business Enterprise, she has devoted 26 years of her life to the social and economic development of the people in Africa, Latin America, and the United States of America. As a specialist in international economic trade and investment, she has helped nations develop sustainable economic development through youth, there it is again, entrepreneurship programs. And as a partner to many international government bodies, Dr. Barrow has been successful in building long-standing relationships in the private and the public sectors. So tell us a little bit about why she is our last guest, Loretta. So we'll set the stage.
Absolutely. We are excited and we're honored to present to Dr. Melida Harris Barrow the Legacy Award. The first award was submitted to Dr. Neil Parsan last year. And the reason for the Legacy Award is the individual that creates a sustainability understanding of what we embed upon ourselves. That embedding, again, is our sustainable development goals. The aspects that she has brought unity globally, the fact that she has created solidarity globally, the fact that she has initiated challenging concepts that aren't always accepted, but she did it globally. And we want to honor and acknowledge her for that. We want to share with her many, many awards that she has received, and they are way too numerous to identify, but I just want to share some of them. The Chicago Carafe Committee Award for Leadership, Women Add Value Recognition, a Women's Leadership Award, the Distinguished Leadership Recognition Official Medallion winner, the Ethiopia African Presidential Award, the USA Africa Bridge Builder Award, the Youth Add Value Sculpturing Excellence and Advancing Leadership Awards. But Dr. Melida can now add to her many wonderful lists of attributes that she has been a valuable contributor to the society as a permanent and a high representative of identity and leadership sustainability. And we'd like to present to Dr. Melida Barrow Harris the award of legacy. And we will hypothetically honor her. And we will be sending her her award. She was so wonderful because in 2021, when yours truly was able to be the president of the South Africa Chamber of Commerce, she was a speaker then, and powerful speaker. And she was in Panama at the time working on her project. And so we're disappointed she's not here, but we're excited that she's being honored. Thank you so much.
And with that, are there any other last comments, considerations? It would be so wonderful if you just put something in the chat of your takeaway today. For those of you that I didn't get to, I'd love to hear it, because we're saving the chat. We've got lots of wonderful connections here, LinkedIn ideas and all kinds of things. So if you haven't done it yet, just save your chat. So you will be able to connect after this event. And so we'll just give you a moment for that. And with that, Lewis has given me permission to get a couple more comments. Anybody who wants to share. So anybody want to kind of come in and say it out loud? What are you taking away today? What are you going to do?
I would love it if our board members would speak and introduce yourself. We have
Well,
3 of our Board of Trustee members on, as well as Louis. So please, I'd be honored.
Louis, why don't you start, and then we'll get to the rest of the board real quick.
I will start by taking, well, I've got my closing, as I said, mentioned earlier today. I have like a closing note, and I've included a number of the things I've heard throughout the summit. But again, this year's summit has been mind-blowing. That's my short takeaway before I include the rest that I wanted to include in,
okay, we will come back to
closing.
you. We will come back to you. Okay, Amanda, do you have something to share?
Yes, I want to first thank all of the speakers. It was a great summit this year. I loved it. And I'm looking forward most, I think, to, I'll be teaching at a university next year, starting in the fall. So I'm looking forward to connecting with my students and those on campus especially for those who are looking to make change, and encouraging them and helping them out in whatever way I can. And I have some ideas we have a walk for silence in the fall, and potentially having that on our campus. So I'm excited and really excited to push forward some of these sustainability initiatives in my new position with working with the youth and young adults. So, this really gets me motivated for that. And fabulous. I am, yeah, so I am on the Board of Trustees.
Wonderful. Who else do we have? Our board members. Who else is here?
Hello.
There you go.
Cheryl.
Hi, Cheryl.
Hi. I am very happy and thrilled to be here. It's been a session full of thoughts and brilliant people sharing all the knowledge and inspiring others to being better and make our world a little bit better every day. As Louis and Loretta always said, doing and nothing is not an option. And here we are demonstrating that not only we want to change or we want to make changes, we actually doing changes. And I'm very happy to be part of this summit. And I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Cheryl. I'm a part of the Board of Trustees for this period of years. And I am very inspired and passionate about sustainability. At the beginning of my career, I was focusing only in the environmental part of the sustainability, but thanks to Loretta and the rest of the part of the team, I've been encouraged to focus as well on the social part and the equal part of the sustainability and how that impacts the life of others by sharing our skills and all kind of thoughts and initiative that we have. So I am, again, I'm so thrilled to be here, and I am sharing my contact information through the chat, and I will be more than happy to connect with all of you guys. And again, this is a part of space to share knowledge as well is the space to networking. So let's do that, and let's connect together and share our thoughts.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you. Do we have anybody else that is a board member?
Yeah.
There you go. Can we? We can't hear you, so try it again.
Yeah, noisy. I'm in transit at the moment. It might be a bit noisy, but I don't know whether you can hear me.
Yes, now we can.
Oh, great. Yeah, my name is Abel Manteleki from Lagos, Nigeria, a member of the BOT. I run an NGO called Oasis Spring Foundation, and I'm passionate about gender equality and equity. And as Loretta said, we shouldn't give up the fight. I'm passionate about seeing women being treated fairly, because I believe in gender equity and equality. We are also doing some programs in Nigeria where we empower pupils from poor family, where we give them new shoes, new school uniform. We also provide scholarship to ensure that they have access to quality education. And I'm so impressed to be on board. And honestly, I must confess that Loretta has been a great motivator. As I said earlier, that you can't be here and don't work. If you are here and you are not working, you can't be here. So,
Wonderful. Thank you again. Thank you
for want to appreciate all this time. In a wonderful time.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think one of the, certainly the takeaway that I'm seeing in the chat, and certainly one of mine, is expanding our definition of sustainability as people, as human beings, as part of nature, the arts, science, everything. It's all part of the big picture, of the holistic picture of saving us and saving our planet. So anybody else? Have we gotten all the board members?
Hi, Tina.
So
this is
there you go. Hi,
my name is
how are you?
From Nigeria. I'm also part of the BOT. I'm very focused on the sustainability and also the quality part of the SDG goals. I'm very intentional about raising a new boy child tribe who will purposefully transition from boyhood to manhood. There have been a lot of stereotype about the boy child tribe. The society has actually told them what they should be doing. Mentally, emotionally, they've been caged. So we are changing the narrative. I'm very passionate about changing the narrative, telling them that it's okay to express yourself as a human. It's okay to cry. It's okay to talk to somebody when you're down. It's okay to, we're just liberating the boys from the stereotype that has been said about the boys. And I'm so excited to be on this summit. I've learned a couple of things with other amazing speakers and also individuals. And I'm Loretta's baby, in case anybody does not know. Loretta's baby, and WOCPSCN has actually transformed me to be a better person. I've been able to network with a lot of amazing people. Hi, Amanda. I mean, this is a family to me. Louis, like, a whole lot of people here have networked with them, had conversation with them, and of course, that's also made me a better person. So if you're on this call, you might consider joining us as well and be an official member of this organization. So thank you, Tina, for the time.
Thank you so much. And I do have a note here that Melida will be here within a couple minutes. So maybe, Loretta, you also want to talk about what's happening in October
Absolutely.
in the San Francisco Bay Area. Yes.
Yes, your neck of the woods, my former neck of the woods. So in October, we have our annual Lena Baker Domestic Violence and Women's Health Summit. The last 2 years, we've had it virtually, and now we're going hybrid. We will be live in San Francisco, October the 26th, the 27th to 28th. And so we're calling that our Warrior Women Weekend. And also what we're doing that weekend is we're having our Honorary Lavender Luncheon. Our first luncheon took place in 2012 in San Francisco, where WOCPSCN got its legs in the Bay Area. And what we do is we honor people in academics, people who enhance knowledge production. And so we have 8 individuals that we'll be acknowledging. Please look at the website to see the individuals. That will be that Friday. That'll be at 11:30. At 2 o'clock at the Women's Building on Mission, we will have the Lena Baker Domestic Violence and Women's Health Summit. Now, the theme for this year is we're looking at the life of Nina Simone, which is the 20th anniversary of her transition. And we're going to look at that because Lena was bipolar, but that wasn't really discourse. And then the emotional and psychological trauma she had because her desire was to be a concert pianist. And because the way society was, she never got to have her dream. What does it mean when your dreams are deferred? How do we address it as women? Because a lot of times our dreams really get deferred. So we're going to talk about that in that capacity. That Saturday, we're excited. We're going back to where we had our very first AM Power Networking. We're still excited. It's still there. Cafe 817, which is on 817 Washington Street in Oakland. That afternoon, we will actually honor our honorees and two other individuals that were very critical in helping us support growth, including Dr. Corinne Holder-Jackson, which is one of our original board members. We're going to honor her as well as Mr. Kevin Nichols, who actually started his organization the same time I started WOCPSCN. So it's really exciting to see how he's grown in his capacity, helping youth in reference to STEM. And I'm really excited about it because a very, very special person in my life, Dana Verde, my daughter, has written a play for women, a one-woman play, and that will be conducted in the afternoon. And that's a wonderful aspect because that's one of our major fundraisers for WOCPSCN as we enter into our new fiscal year. So we're really excited about that. If you're in the Bay Area or be close or want to fly in, come hang out with us. And then the week after that, we will celebrate our 11th anniversary of the Walking in Silence for the Silence Domestic Violence Solidarity Walk. So we are very excited because Adi is kicking it in Nigeria. Nigeria looks like it's going to be the largest state that will have walkers. So everybody else that I'm talking to, hint. We're going back to UCLA. So, and that's where we had our first institutional walk in UCLA in 2013. And we are just really excited that they've come back on board and we'll have a walk there. Their walk is not going to be on the 5th though. They have to move it back a week because of football. We understand football, but it is UCLA, let's face it. So, but we're excited that they still want to participate in the walk and we're moving that forward. So how does the walk work? It is just as simple as you walking to around your yard or around your block. We had a young lady, she was 83 years young, and she used to walk, Mother Jackson would walk to her mailbox and back. That's all the walk she could do, but that was her solidarity. We have a young man that didn't want to walk, but he went to the gym with his t-shirt on. That was his solidarity. The other wonderful thing, let's say you can't walk, that's okay. We got something for you to do. We have something called the Purple Thumb. And this happened in 2021 where my nail salon, of course they couldn't walk me Saturday, but what they did is they painted everybody's thumb purple in honor of our walk. So that's how we got the Purple Thumb salon support. We ask salons, ask your barbershops, your beauty salons, your spas, ask them to support us that weekend and ask them for that weekend, everybody that comes in, paint their thumb purple and then take a picture and post it on their social media. And we'll have all these thumbs all over the world, all over. Excellent opportunity. So there's multiple ways of participating. And our theme there is, we don't walk for the cause, we walk because domestic violence has increased exponentially because of COVID. Because it's never been a sexy thought or conversation, and it still isn't. But people are dying from domestic violence, intimate partner violence. Domestic violence is also your community. If I cannot walk safely in my community, that's my domicity. I need to stand up for my community. What does it take a walk? It takes just you to walk 10 o'clock your time. No matter where you are on the planet, think about it. At 10 o'clock, everybody's time, we'll be walking. That's where the solidarity comes in at. I love telling the story because we have a walk in Harlem, and we had just finished up a walk, and a woman with her baby cart came by and she asked us what we were doing. And I shared with her about the walk-in information. She goes, you know, I'm going through that now and I don't know where to get information. I don't know how to get out. Now we partner with the police department because they have a domestic violence unit. And we really honored it last year because, you know, last year was the two, and Dr. Melida is just coming in. The two individuals that were police officers in Harlem that lost their lives because they went to a domestic violence situation crisis and they were killed. So it really meant a lot to us last year. So the walk happens not only to those in the situation, but those who are trying to help us get out of the situation. Think about it. Go to our website. Take a look. You can reach out to any of us. And you know, I live on LinkedIn, so you can always reach out to me. But please create a walk. Remember, we don't walk for the cause. We walk because. So if you would please reintroduce Dr. Melida and we'll bring her in.
I certainly will. We welcome you. We've been waiting for you, Dr. Melida. So I'm going to read your bio just again. You were born in Panama City. You're the founder of the 6th Global Chamber of Commerce and the visionary behind the journey of reconciliation of Mother Africa and her diaspora. You're a universal peace ambassador for Panama. You're the author of an international bestseller, motivational speaker, life coach, and a talk show host. As the CEO of Love, Truth, and Peace Global Initiative, I just love that, the World Trade Investment Foundation, and the Harris Business Enterprise, she has devoted 26 years of her life to the social and economic development of people in Africa, Latin America, and the US. As a specialist in international economic trade and investment, she has helped nations develop sustainable economic development through youth entrepreneurship programs. As a partner to many international government bodies, Dr. Barrow has been successful in building long-standing relationships in the private and the public sector, and the recipient of this year's award. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I just want to say thank all of you. Loretta, bless you. Lou, bless you. This is very inspiring to me that I was chosen for this award. I want to get ready to start about the sustainability, and I just want to go right into it, right?
Go ahead. You got the floor.
Have I done? My God. Sometimes you spend time doing things and you don't recognize the multitude of things that you have done. I want to speak about the sustainability of the work that many of you have done, and many things that I've done myself. I want to talk about partnership. I want to talk about how is it that many of us have gotten to where we are today. It's hard work, but we don't look at it that way because this is something that God chose for us. And I believe that it's important for us to continue the work that we have done. Business. Doing business overseas can sometimes be difficult, but at the same time, it's very rewarding. I want to go into doing business abroad. The president of the Chamber of Commerce. There are things that we have to reroute, change, because our mentality is still at a certain point where we're still using the old system and never thought to change things sometimes. And this is why sometimes we're still where we at. I believe in the mindset and how the mindset can detour us from, or I wouldn't even say detour, but how we cannot accept new things, how we cannot change new things. My mind works the way my mind works is we constantly need to change if it doesn't work. We keep repeating the same things knowing that it's not working, especially when it comes to sustainability. I once said to myself that God has given me a gift. I would say many gifts. And sometimes we don't recognize the gifts that God has given us. And this is why I've made a lot of changes. And one is connecting Africa and the African diaspora and the indigenous people. Why? Because we keep repeating and repeating a system that does not work for us. And in order for us to have sustainability, we have to constantly change. Changing is doing things better. When we continue to do the same things from 100 years ago, which I've seen and which is something that is not going to work, but we keep doing it. That's the mind. The mind believes that let's keep doing it and one day we will get there. No, I don't believe that. I believe that we have to, when things don't work, we have to change it right away. So that's why I started the journey of reconciliation of Mother Africa and her diaspora, because it is needed. It's important for us now to connect Africa and the African diaspora. And I'm speaking about this subject because we had been delayed based on the mindset. We don't want to change. We don't want to be creative sometimes, or sometimes we can't be creative because of the things that's happening around us. But this is where I want to land with this conversation, is that I recognize by connecting Africa and the diaspora, we are growing. The mind is growing. The things that we have done before, it's changing. We keep talking about sustainability, but actually once we start something and it's not going good, we walk away. That's the time when we need to work harder. And basically, sometimes we don't because we don't know how. So allow us to come together, speak about the issues. And once we speak about those issues, it's going to work. Last year, I brought kings and queens to Panama. And the reason that I did that is because we don't know each other. I was born in Panama. You were born somewhere else. This is the best time now for us to have those conversations about ourselves. You know, this is the best time. I want to learn from my brothers and sisters from Pakistan, from Jamaica, from Costa Rica, from Addis Ababa. You know, we're not allowing ourselves to work together. And that is something that we have to change. Because I noticed when I was growing up in Panama, we were not allowed to go certain places in Panama. I even have it happening today where Haitians and trying to come back into Panama to shop. But there's still racism. And that's why countries cannot grow, because of the mentality, not realizing instead of making the country grow, and for people to have their businesses. But when you start your business, it doesn't go so far. You can start it, but can you continue it? I know these type of conferences, we talk about business, we talk about all sorts of things, but we're not talking about the real issues. And the real issue is just what I mentioned. We have our Haitian brothers that want to continue to shop on the free zone in Panama. And I'm talking about this because this is the reality. We're talking about sustainability, but we cannot do it because that there are other issues. So I asked the president of the head of the free zone, and I said, why is it that Haitians were taking away their visas because you don't want them to shop on the free zone anymore? And they are actually scared that they were gonna stay, or they're gonna stay in the country. And that's not true, because they've been shopping since the 60s. But all in a sudden, things change. So I approach the head of the free zone and ask why. He yet cannot answer the question. But I never ask a question with not knowing the answer. So I reach out to my Haitian brothers and sisters and got all the information, my elders, and it's just that simple. Racism. So now Venezuela and Colombia used to be the #1, and also, well, Haitians was, I would say, was the #1, then Venezuela, then Colombia. How can you sustain your business when they tell you you can't come back into the country? So I set up a meeting with 20 Haitians, and I met with the head of the free zone, and he said, well, only 25 can come into the country. Now, it's a free zone. You should be able, 100, 200, 1,500 should be able to come in and shop on a free zone. See, I'm going in the opposite. I don't know what was discussed today, but how can a nation grow if you're not permitted to sustain your business? This is higher than the person or the business when you're being prevented from coming in a nation. So my mentality is this: you're not the only free zone. You're not the only country. So I deterred my clients. I told my clients, let's go to Colombia. Let's go to Costa Rica. Let's go to other countries. So to sustain something, you need to get information. Information is key, because if you cannot, you can start something, but can you finish it? And it's not always the company, but the nation. So now, the thing that I'm doing now, and I need to share this with you, because again, we're talking about sustainability. And what I'm doing now is taking Africans doing trade missions now in Colombia. So opening up the door and changing the mindset. We can't just stay there and wait for opportunities to come to us. We have to create them. That's what it is. We have to be creators to be in the business in this world. When someone tells you no, you better believe that Dr. Barrow is going to say yes. And to be creative is not that easy, because you're dealing with the power of a nation. So you got to move. The movement is what creates your sustainability. Not someone tell you what you can't do, when in fact you can do it. So last year when I brought the kings and queens and chiefs, government, ministers, is to make a point. You're coming, but you're not just coming to do business. You're coming to apologize, my kings and queens, because you also did something that at that time, it was very supportive. You also sold your children to the Americas around the world and around the world. So what caused all that? Economics. It's all about economics. And economics is something that has sustained so many. The education. This is why we are in the condition that we are in. We cannot even use our own currency in Africa. We can't. When we trade, we use the American dollars. Why? Why should I use the American dollars in order to trade within the nation and the continent? It shouldn't be that way. There's so many things that's happening that is not visible to our eyes because we're not in that zone, we're not in that place. And because we're not there, is because we are not providing the information. People, businessmen, I can go on and on, are not providing information to one another. The indigenous people I'm working with also because they don't have the information. So we have to provide the information to them in order to have sustainability within their business. We're not doing that. And this is why it is a great opportunity, but at the same time, the natives are not being provided the information. So what do we do as business people? This is not just about business. This is about the people. This is not about saying that you're rich. It's about the people. A nation will never grow if you don't teach them anything. The people. So when I don't see that, it is because they don't want to teach them in order for them to have sustainability in their business, in their home. As I said, it's not just about business. You understand? We have to change our mentality. We have to grow. When you grow, I grow. Because everything that I know, I will share it. Because that's the way it should be. Sharing information and providing the tools that people need in order. That's what I'm doing in Colombia right now. I'm bringing the investors, I'm bringing the other businesses from Africa, and then I'm letting Colombia know I am bringing in technology. I am bringing in investors that want to build hospitals. We are sharing now. I'm so happy. You will not imagine the things that we're doing because Africans have the, and others that I'm bringing in have the tools. But the Colombians in certain region don't have the tools, but they have the land. They have mines. And the differences between Africa and Colombia is the fact that the mines in Colombia, you own the land and you also own the minerals. In Africa, you own the land, but you do not, and I repeat, you do not own the minerals. Now, I want to give you an example. If Africans and others own the tools and have the funds, what can they do? Go to Colombia and do business with Colombians because they own both. And they have so much land that we are now going to Colombia with Africans from Ghana, and we're going to discuss and cultivating. They have so much land that I told them, well, why don't you lease the land? So we're going to lease lands to those that don't even have so much money in order to cultivate. So we're going to turn it around. This is where now I'm going with the fact that if you want sustainability, both sides can do it. So now if you cultivate on that land, now you're going to do business together. And even if you don't have the money to buy land, what I'm doing is introducing them to a new way of doing business. And that is the workers on the land also profit. They should profit. They should be paid a salary. Let that land also be for those that are cultivating, and everybody profit. Everybody will profit. And now you can sustain everything because we're all working together. We don't have to buy the land. Some already I found some that says you don't have to buy the land because the land is doing nothing there. Okay, you bring the tools in, you bring the money in, and everybody would benefit, and we will make sure that we have sustainability there. It's all about how you manage. How can you sit on a land? How can you have a mind and you're saying that you're poor? We were trained to say that we're poor, but we're not poor. When the mind wakes up, we're going to realize one day that we're not poor. Who is poor are those that's taking the lands. Who is poor, really poor, is those that are saying, you know, we don't have land, we don't have food to feed our people. So we have to come to your land and take by force in order to feed our people. Those are the people that are poor. You that own the land and allow others to come and take the land. Why are you crying now? Why is it that you're crying now? And then you're telling yourself that you're poor? Shame on you. You cannot ever say in Africa that you're poor, the indigenous, that you're poor. You guys have most of the land in the world. Most of the land in the world. But we don't know how to manage our land because we don't have the information. We just continue to allow those to take the land. We cannot say that we're poor. Please, those that are listening to me, you're not poor. You just don't know how to manage your land. So it's time now to wake up, because Loretta is not doing this program for nothing. It is to inform you. All is possible. But you've been taught all your life to say, I am poor. When you say that you're poor, you will be poor because you don't have the mind to even be creative. You're done. When you keep telling yourself that you're poor, no hope. You have no hope. your mind can't even think that you're wealthy. Teach your children from now that they're not poor, please. You are destroying your children when you tell them we are poor. Don't ever do that again. Because what you have was given to you by God. Manage it. And if you don't know how, ask. Because a lot of people that you think that are saying, I own this, I own that, you think they did it by themselves? They got counseled. Who counseled you? That's the difference. So this is what I do. I get different people. You have this, you have that, you have that. Let's build. Can we do that? Right now, you can. Many of you are scared. Leave fear out of business. Whether I can do it or somebody's telling you, oh, I can't. Oh, Dr. Barrow, you can't do that. How many times I haven't heard that? It's like a song. And I prove them wrong every time. We are all powerful people, no matter what race you are. See, that's the thing. Racism is an illusion. That's all it is. It's an illusion. You can't base your education, base your creativity on a color. You're powerful people. But when you start hurting people, letting them know that they're this and not that, that is not your right to do. It is not. Some people might get uncomfortable with what I'm saying. So be it. Because we have to get out of the rut that we are in today. Because we're powerful people. I know I'm powerful. I don't need no man to tell me that I am. I know racism is an illusion. No one can tell me you are superior to me. I know that God exists. And then he has taken me places I've never been. And I realized something very important. I realized that once you know who you are, then you're going to move the world. Then your voice, your message is going to shake the world. I shook it, and I'm still shaking it. And I'm going to continue to shake it. You see. And I want to close by saying that if we really understand or understood what happened to us, to all of us, we've been duped to hate each other, to dislike each other because of the color of our skin. And we don't realize how powerful we can be. You are doing work for many years, discriminating against each other instead of coming together and building. See, this is going to be over soon. Feeling superior or the other one superior to the other one, that's going to change. There's going to always be racism because of the mindset. But you have to understand who you are. Nobody can call me the N-word. You know why? It doesn't exist. You believe it, it will exist. And I'm speaking this way because there is a lot of things that are holding us back based on lies throughout history. I prefer to speak about my history and the knowledge that I have and stop listening to everybody else. Sustainability is not just about business, it's about your life. And that's why I will always remain who I am, because I don't always listen to man. I listen to God, and he has guided me. He has really brought to my attention, Dr. Barrow, listen to me. My way is the right way. And a lot of times, so many have mentioned to you, you can't do it, Loretta. You can't do it, Dr. Barrow. You can't do it, Lou. But look at what we're doing. We're doing great things, but to change the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I think what you have created here, Dr. Melida, is sacred space. Your words are sacred. And I want to give some reflections of what I heard. And then I know Lewis is going to wrap us up with what he's heard. You're not hopeless. You're not helpless. There's hope and there's help. And you just have to ask for it. Number one. Number two, it's not that you don't want to change. You just don't know how. And there are people like you and so many people on this call that do know how, that have walked the shoes before other people and are willing to pull out a hand and take people along. I also heard that the way that you see the world is you see the obstacles and you find solutions. The obstacles don't keep you stuck. Because again, if I would imagine if you're stuck, you ask for help. What am I not seeing? What am I not looking at? What am I missing here? You have creative solutions to disruptive thinking. You disrupt the status quo. And again, I invite everybody here on that call to be willing to disrupt the status quo. And you collaborate for win-win. And those are the messages that I'm taking. And I'm sure everybody has their own. So I thank you so much for that. And I will leave it now to Lewis to wrap us up for the day.
Thank you. And thank you, Tina. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and speakers from around the world. I cannot even start to tell you how impactful this summit has been. And as we draw to the conclusion of the Global Sustainability Partnerships Define Your Legacy Summit, I'm really filled with a profound sense of gratitude. It's been an absolute honor to witness the collective wisdom, the passion, and dedication that emanated from this extraordinary gathering. I'm humbled by the presence of such a global audience and the remarkable panel of esteemed speakers who share their insight and expertise. I'm grateful for your active participation, thoughtful contributions, and unwavering commitment to a more sustainable future, because it's been nothing short of inspiring. Listening to everything that has been mentioned, I had to just a couple of quotes popped into my mind of three people that I consider to be my personal heroes, and the first one would be Robin Williams, the actor, who once said, "No matter what people tell you, words and ideas can change the world." Throughout this summit, I have witnessed the power of ideas come to life, sparking conversations that have the potential to ignite transformation and creating lasting impact. The second one that came to mind is the one and only Bruce Lee, the legendary martial artist, who reminded us the successful warrior is the average man with laser-like focus. Each and every single one of you has exemplified this focused determination, coming together from different corners of the globe, united by a shared vision of a better tomorrow. And then one of the most prominent ones, Nelson Mandela, a beacon of resilience and compassion, that believed that education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Our time together today in this summit has been a real journey of learning, sharing knowledge, and expanding our collective understanding of the challenges that we face and the solutions that lie within our grasp. So again, I want to express my deepest gratitude to each and every one of you for your invaluable time, your attention, your active engagement throughout this event. Your presence and commitment have really enriched our discussion, brought depth to our deliberation, and reinforced our belief in the potential of collective action. So as we bring this summit to a close, let us carry the spirit of collaboration, unity, and resilience into the world beyond these virtual walls. So together we possess the power to make a difference, to shape a more sustainable future for generations to come. So let us also remember that the road ahead may be challenging, as a number of speakers have shared, but with determination, creativity, and a shared sense of purpose, we can overcome any obstacle. So our collective legacy is not defined by the mere words spoken here today, but by the actions we take, both individually and collectively, in the days, weeks, and years to come. So coming back to Robin Williams, who said, no matter what people tell you, words and ideas can change the world. Well, sorry, let us take the ideas that have blossomed in this summit and transform them into action, inspiring change in our communities, organizations, and the world at large. So thank you once again for being part of this remarkable journey. Let us forge ahead, hand in hand, working together for a more sustainable future. So thank you, and may our paths continue to intersect in the pursuit of a better world.
Thanks, Louis. Thank you all.
Thanks,
you
everyone.
Beautiful people. Yes.